Hey, y'all. It is Tia Sillers week here on the Boston Chris podcast, and this is the quintessential conversation that proves why podcasting is one of the coolest things to do on the planet. I am so unbelievably blessed to bring to you guys one of the best songwriters who has ever existed. This is Tia Sillers, and let me tell you a little bit about Tia. Tia is a Grammy Award-winning songwriter who has had success with over 40 singles, including the iconic I Hope You Dance by Lee Ann Womack, the Chicks with There's Your Trouble, and of course, Blue on Black by Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Now, I Hope You Dance alone has received worldwide exposure, including the Nobel Prize Awards ceremony, and was adapted into a New York Times best-selling book written by Sillers and her co-writer Mark D. Sanders. In addition to winning Song of the Year at the 43rd Annual Grammy Awards, I Hope You Dance was named Song of the Year by CMA, ACM, NSAI, ASCAP, and BMI. The song reached international success with a rendition recorded by Ronan Keaton, a version by Gladys Knight, which was featured in a Tyler Perry film, The Family That Prays, and has now become a staple during Chris Stapleton's live performances. Her songs run the genre gamut, from country to heavy metal, and we talk about that. Whether it be Alan Jackson's That'd Be Alright, or Five Finger Death Punch's version of Blue on Black, or MGK performing There's Your Trouble at the 2024 CMA Fest, Sillers has helped cement Kenny Wayne Shepherd's standing in the rock and blues scene with 1996's Deja Voodoo, and has written him multiple hits, including the title track to his 2019 record, The Traveler. Tia's work has also won Canadian CMA Awards for artists such as Johnny Reid and Victoria Banks, landing her 3 nominations for the Songwriters Hall of Fame. What is wrong with you, Songwriters Hall of Fame? Get your stuff together. Tia Sillers belongs immortalized within your walls. Guys, I cannot believe that Tia Sillers is coming here on the show this week. So excited to get the chance to pick her brain and just see the compassion and the passion behind this incredible, incredible woman. Oh, man, if you enjoy this episode, I need you guys to click that like button wherever you are tuning in. And, of course, if you'd like to see more in-depth, candid conversations like this one right here, you can subscribe or follow. And also, comment down below your favorite part of this episode. But without any further ado, I'm so excited to chat with the one and only Tia Sillers. Zoom!
It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. Until we all lose connection.
Hey everybody, I'm Marty Dodson. Thanks for tuning in to Boston Chris podcast. Hope you enjoyed it.
Tennessee, where I normally live too, and yeah, it's about as gorgeous as you can. There's the 360 or the
Wow.
180.
I've always wanted to go to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
So like Washington or Oregon.
I started coming out here years ago because some of my best friends were originally from here, and then they returned here maybe like 9 or 10 years ago, and so I've been coming out almost every year, and then building up, like also like playing shows and things like that. So like I just route my trips around being able to visit them, and it's one of the most magical places.
Yeah.
Tide, the way the tide changes from low to high is just insane, and it's like from their house, the front of their house butts right up to the water, and during high tide you can dive off their front. Well, you wouldn't want to dive, but you can jump off and you're in water.
Wow.
And then 6 hours later you have to go 70 feet out because it's all been exposed.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you doing this, first of all. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
How much time do you have tonight?
I don't have anything else planned, so that's it.
Sweet. All right, cool. Then we'll get right into it. Guys, it's Tia Sillers on the Boston Chris podcast, and man, I am such a huge fan of your art, and I thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me and chat about who you are and all that. You are so unique to me.
Okay.
And, I'm going to get into that, I promise. Just kind of like all over the place genre-wise with your songwriting, and it's so not typical for a songwriter to kind of be all over the place like that, like rock and roll and heavy metal and pop and country, and I definitely want to like talk about the nuts and bolts of that in a little while. But man, we were blessed. Backstage Nashville, I reached out to them, and they are going to let us use a live version of you doing "I Hope You Dance" here on the show tonight.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Backstage Nashville's been amazing.
Yeah, they
Amazing.
are awesome. So thank you to them. We're going to put a link in the description below to them so you guys can check them out. But this will give us a chance to play the song by Tia, and we'll ask Tia right now to tell us the story behind the song and how it came to be.
Well, so I was involved with somebody and going through a breakup, and I was feeling kind of sorry for myself, and I thought it was a really good time to take a really grown-up big girl vacation all by myself. So I drove down to Apalachicola, St. George Island, Florida, and I was there for a week. It was my first, like I said, vacation completely by myself. And this was a period I had just had the Chicks' big hit, There's Your Trouble.
Yeah.
And so my mother would call me up on the phone every day, and she'd go, chick, chick, mama chick to baby chick, chick, like that. And then she would proceed to list off these horrible hopes, like these terrible hopes, like, I hope he's miserable for the rest of his life. I hope he never finds anybody to love him again. I hope that his last dying breath will be your name. You know, I'd be like, Mama, stop it. Stop it. But I did like hearing all the I hopes, even though they were the kind of the wrong I hopes. And then it wasn't too many days after that, I'm walking along the beach, and I'm feeling really tiny and inconsequential, as walking along the beach often does to me. Mm-hmm. And I was just wondering if maybe I should be shark bait over, you know, being a songwriter. What the hell am I even trying to do? And this big SUV pulls up inexplicably on the beach, this big black SUV, and this guy, and it's like spraying sand everywhere, and it's playing loud music, and then it stops like right by me. I'm completely alone on the beach. There's no one else. There's, you know, a mile of beach on either side, but this
not creepy at all, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, not creepy at all.
Yeah.
And so this SUV stops, and this guy gets off, and he's on his cell phone. He's yelling into his cell phone. And this is at this moment, I have to say, like, I still don't know whether I said this or I thought this, but part of me says I had to have said it, because if I had just thought it, I might not have thought it was such a good idea. But so I turned around and just sort of yelled at him, you know what your problem is, mister? You don't feel small when you stand beside the ocean, and you never will.
Wow.
And then I remember whipping right around and going, oh, that's a really good idea. And so I must have said it. I've always said, like, I don't know. I don't trust. There's so much of memory that's elastic and that you don't trust anyway. But yeah, so that was really the beginning of collecting these things that I hoped, and that I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. That was one line that was really important to me.
It's such an iconic line now, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that, right? Like how iconic that line is to country
Yeah,
music.
that more than anything else. I mean, it's like funny. It's like now when people goes, oh, I hope whenever one door closes, one door opens. It's like, yes, that line was in my song, but I don't think I coined that line.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
oh, never fearing those mountains in a distance. I didn't coin that line.
Yeah.
But, you know, to say, I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean, I don't think anybody said it quite like that before. So that's
golly, it just makes that song so much, right? It's like it just ties everything together so much. And man, I got to tell you, you know, the first time I ever saw or heard these songs, rather, when I say these songs, I interviewed Marla Cannon Goodman, who wrote "The Fool" for Lee Ann Womack, and
man, her name is just. I mean, I've known her forever, but I have heard and talked more about Marla Cannon Goodman in the last 2 weeks than I have in 10 years.
Yeah.
So we are definitely on a plane ready to.
You guys need to co-write or something. But I told her that I'm going to tell you the same thing. The first time I heard "The Fool," the first time I heard "I Hope You Dance" was live.
Wow.
Like I heard it from Lee Ann Womack when she was just starting out, and she was doing like a benefit show. I want to say it was like it was whenever the 75th anniversary of the Grand Ole Opry was happening. So
Well,
I
that
think it was like
25 years ago. We
yeah,
just
so
had
yeah,
it's past that.
99, 2000, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. And she was doing a show with the Warren Brothers and Billy Gilman and Clay Davison, if you remember these names. And
Yeah, wow.
so yeah, I heard those songs for the first time live. And man, when you hear a song for the first time live, it hits different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely. So it's been the song has been a big part of my life. One of my good friends, Katie Lynn, she sang the song on America's Got Talent. And she was a semifinalist partly because of that song. So
God bless Katie Lynch.
yeah. So yeah, I'm just so excited to have you on the show and to show you guys a live performance from the songwriter herself, Miss Tia Sillers. Here she is, courtesy of Backstage Nashville with I Hope You Dance.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. And promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. You never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. And don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. And promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. Time is a wheel in constant motion, always
right, so we are back once again. What a treat it is to chat with the people behind the songs, right? The ones that you perhaps don't know their name and should. And, I mean, you should know Tia Sillers' name. I am a songwriting nerd, so I read the liner notes, and I want to know where the song came from, not just who delivered it. And, I mean, that marriage between artist and song is really important, too. But I like to hear where it came from. I do have an icebreaker question before we start with the in-depth stuff. What are your favorite drinks right now?
Oh, wow. Alcoholic or not alcoholic?
Either one, yeah.
Because, well, right now I just started making my own. I take cucumbers, peel off all the skins, watermelon, and I puree it in a blender. So I have cucumber watermelon juice.
Nice.
And you can drink that straight, like non-alcoholic, or you can spike it with gin, and it's amazing. So that would be like my favorite summertime thing. But also I'm here at Joe and Barb's house, and they are true wine sommeliers, and so I've been drinking a lot of white Burgundy.
Oh, man, you're just having it rough right now, aren't you?
It is. It's a hard life.
Sitting in front of the Puget Sound and enjoying life. Love it.
Yeah, watching the sea otters and the little seals go by, and
Yeah, you just had a beautiful hummingbird behind you, too. You're going to have to...
beautiful. I mean, the hummingbirds are nuts. Yeah,
You're
there's
going
an
to have
eagle.
to watch it back.
Eagle's nest to the left of me. Yeah.
Yeah, tough stuff. Are you writing out there right now? Because you should be with that backdrop.
Yeah, it's so I came out here with a number of intentions that so I'm writing in one way songwriting and one way speech writing. There's an organization called Le Tevin, which is the Nashville wine auction, that raises buku bucks nationwide for cancer research, and I lost my husband to cancer years ago, and so I've become super involved with this organization and donated my skills as a songwriter and a performer to them over the years, and now I'm in charge of giving the keynote speech in a couple of weeks. And so it was so great to be able to come out here to Joe and Barb, who was like one of me and Moss's like best friends. Like, they know him, they know the honor of him, they know the legacy of him, and to be able to work on this speech and get that all polished. And then also I'm participating for the first time ever in this organization called Operation Song, which writes songs with veterans and writes about their experience, or tries to encapsulate their experience in the military and just as human beings. And so I'm doing that, and then I'm playing a series of shows, and then I'm also going to go. One of my best friends is a amazing producer and guitar player in Portland, Oregon, Dominic Schmidt. I'm going to go out there next Monday and record a bunch of new songs.
Nice. So yeah, I love the Operation Song thing. There's a few really reputable. Oh my God, that's hard to say.
Yeah.
Veteran songwriters organizations that I really love, and I'm glad that you're part of that, because those are really cool experiences, but from both sides, I know.
I've never been a part of anything like that. I think the I have my own post-traumatic stress
Sure.
and my late husband's illness and his death and everything. So I've never felt that I had thick enough skin to dive into anyone else's life too closely.
Yeah.
And I've but something has changed this year where I find the skin is tough enough. So I'm looking forward to being there for this other person.
And isn't it nice to know that you can still grow even as we get older, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's getting older though?
No, I mean, none of us are, right? Yeah. I got you. Let's talk about back in the beginning. So I understand, just reading about you, you were born in Stamford, Connecticut. Is that correct?
It's such a confusing thing. Yeah, sort of. I lived there for all of 48 hours.
Wow.
My mom's water broke in Connecticut, and so I was born in Connecticut. But
So
that's
not-
what's on my certificate. So
Not necessarily a Yankee then, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we lived in New York City. So my family lived in New York City on the Upper West Side until I was like two and a half. And then
Okay.
we moved to multiple other places. But yes, I was born in Stamford, Connecticut by 48 hours.
So let's set the record straight then. What would you say is your hometown?
I would have to say Nashville, because we moved there when I was 14.
Sure.
Up until then, between of the age of 0 to 14, I lived in so many places and countries that I don't really have any sense of that. So it wasn't really till we finally stayed somewhere that I developed a sense of self. Yeah.
Was
A
that
place.
moving around? Was that military related or job related?
Sort My dad was and spoke multiple languages fluently. He was an immigrant, European immigrant. So from his family, because of his family, he spoke German and English and Portuguese and things like that. And so he was a translator for KLM, the Royal Dutch Airlines, which is the only way I can say it. I can't actually not say KLM, the Royal Dutch Airlines, without saying the two together. And so that's what he was doing in my beginning years of life. And that's, largely what made us move around.
Well, I'm excited about kind of picking that apart too, because I feel like your formative years always kind of show their head, right, when you get older and whatever you end up doing. But before we like really pick that apart, can you kind of remember what your first musical memories were, like when music found you for the first time?
Well, this is so great because I was literally just down the street here. And when I say down the street, down the beach is easier to say. I was down the beach, 7 houses down the beach on Puget Sound with Joe and Barb and their neighbors. And we were all watching these birds basically catch a gigantic fish. And I said, a lot of people want to know what started off my songwriting career. And I don't think it was a song. It was a piece of poetry that my grandfather taught me. And it goes, what a wonderful bird is the pelican. His mouth can hold more than his belly can. He can hold in his beak enough food for a week, although I don't know how in the hell it can.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that was like, all I wanted to do was write, like, I don't even know, is that like iambic pentameters? I don't even know. But the point is, I wrote like 10,000 million of those on my life. Like that was like my little childhood, joy thing, that. And then when I was when we moved to Nashville and we moved to Green Hills Terrace, which was this condominium complex. And I had a little Huffy bicycle and I wasn't allowed to cross Hillsborough Road. I was only allowed to stay on my parents' condominium side of the street.
I remember those days. Yep.
Yeah. And so lo and behold, I'm biking around and I would notice there were people always standing outside of this little building, this little house. And one day I stopped and asked them and they said, oh, this is a music venue. It has music shows twice a day, 7 days a week. It's called the Bluebird Cafe. Wow. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. And at the time my parents were getting ready to open up a restaurant in Nashville. So, and I at this point, they were pretty involved with restaurants. So it wasn't like a restaurant wasn't a weird thing. And so I'm biking around one day. I don't know how soon after I found out it was the Bluebird Cafe, but whatever it was the summertime before I start school. And I'm biking around the parking lot and I see this guy outside smoking a cigarette, standing on the balcony of what was clearly like a kitchen and had the dumpsters and everything. And I said, is this the kitchen of the Bluebird? And he goes, yeah, it is. And so I park my Huffy. I imagine it to be a Concord grape purple Huffy,
okay.
But a hot pink or something like that, And I walked in through the kitchen, and I remember this part clear as day. I walked in through the kitchen, just sort of walked in like I knew what I was doing, and walked in through the little back door, and the sound person looked at me, and they just sort of pointed, like gave me a little come this way, and they pointed at this little sheet, this little shelf in the back of the Bluebird. And I just sat there at this shelf and watched like the Bluebird. I watched a show, and I must have watched like 5 or 6 of those shows when one night, like the sound person says to me, what would be a really great show for you to go see is Don Schlitz. Don Schlitz plays Don for $1 on Monday nights. He plays the late show. And I kind of knew enough to know, it wasn't Monday nights. I don't know what night it was. It was a night. And I knew enough. It was like the 8:30, 9 o'clock show. Well, that was a completely different creature than going and sneaking out at 6 o'clock at night. So I knew I had to come clean with my parents if I was going to take this up a notch. And so I told them what I wanted to do, and my mom said she'd come with me. And so I got to watch Don Schlitz and Alan Shamblin.
Golly.
And that was it.
What a big role from somebody like a sound guy, right? Just letting you in instead of kicking you out.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow.
It was when I think about it now, it's like and not to say that all the others weren't great. All the other songwriters were great and everything, but one, they were maybe awkward in their stories, or maybe their songs weren't so great, or maybe it was more like they were too jokey, or they were irreverent, or whatever. And it was like everything that Don and Alan did were exactly perfect, even though they were completely different personalities, completely different types of humor. I mean, Alan Jackson is the sweetest, you know, puppy dog panda bear of a human being. And then like Alan Shamblin would be like, I'm trying to think, he's like a golden retriever and a panda bear. And then Don is like a blue-heeled tick and a and a grizzly bear.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be more,
Yeah.
but they're just lovely, and they were so articulate and so welcoming and kind to me.
And
Yeah.
so ridiculously talented too.
Yeah,
Like you guys out there, I mean, if you're into songwriting, you know who they are. But if you're not,
Yeah.
you need to check them out. Obviously, you've sung along with their songs. I assure you.
Yeah.
You know.
And it was also, it was amazing because I wasn't old enough to understand some of their songs. Like I didn't comprehend like The Gambler. I did not understand what that meant.
Mhm.
I did not understand the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. You know, I didn't understand. I thought he walked on water. I didn't understand. I can't make you love me if you don't. This was, you know, several years later, but I knew they were great. And I knew that I had to get enough life experience in me to try to harness that.
I love that too because like you're still a youngin', like you're
Yeah.
you know high school age at this point,
Yeah.
but you don't really start writing songs until your college years. So like, what's happening musically for you? Are you writing the poems like your grandfather taught you, like that kind of thing? Like artistically, what are you doing at this time?
At this time, I'm in school plays, I'm in theater, I'm drawing, I'm writing, I'm studying really hard because my parents were going through some really difficult personal and financial problems. I knew they weren't going to be able to afford to send me to college. I knew all those things like that. And I desperately wanted to be the first woman in my family to go to college. My mom, it was like my mom's life goal is that her daughter was going to go to school and break this cycle of break the glass ceiling finally. I mean, I felt tremendous pressure to want to accomplish that. And so I don't really think that I felt the luxury of that I might actually pursue something creative until I had a whole lot of education under my belt to where if the education didn't work, that I could go back and be a hedge fund manager.
Right. Yeah. It's
I
about
could go back, yeah, and you know, work in a bank. I could go back and, you know, there were a number of things I could.
covering your bases, as many
Yeah.
bases as you can. Here's a question for you. You get to Nashville. This is really the first time that you're able to put down roots, right? Like prior to that, you're moving all over the place. So what was that like? That kind of I'm trying to think, like just trying to adjust to that. What was that like on you?
You know, I love that you asked that because I don't think anybody's asked me that ever. And it was pretty striking. I had an incredibly difficult time. Up until then, I had never really gone to the same school
Right.
for more than a few years. And so now we're enrolling in high school. I get to high school, and at the end of a year and a half at the same high school, I'm like, okay, chop, chop, where are we going? Right? We're moving on. And nobody was moving. And so I went and told my parents, I want to change high schools. And, you know, they couldn't really understand that, but they were supportive of it. And so then I changed. So I went to 2 different high schools, and even like I went to college a year and a half into college, I was like, chop, chop, ready to change, get out of here. Let's go somewhere else. So I transferred, and that's when I went to University of North Carolina. It was like I was so conditioned to change. And at some point, something hit in me of like, I can't keep this up. I've got to make roots. And what's a shame is that I don't have really a single friend before the age of 22.
Yeah, I was going to say that's got to be the hardest thing, right? Because I was a military kid myself, so
Yeah.
I knew it was always a risk to create a relationship with somebody new wherever we were,
Yeah.
right? Because the chances are that was going to go away at some point and completely, out of the blue, right?
And also, when you're a military kid or a person moving to a new town, each time you move, it's massive reinvention,
Yep.
right? You pick what didn't work about you. Nobody remembers. Nobody can rub anything in you. Nobody can go, whoa, when she was blah, 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 blah. Nobody can tell any of those stories. They're all gone. And so each time you were reinventing yourself, having a chance to make yourself a little better or a little worse, depending on, your own situation. But it was like that's why even now, like occasionally people have reached out to me over the years from 6th grade or 8th grade. And I don't I don't even know what to say. It's like I don't remember that time, or that time was not that time was irrelevant to me, but it wasn't, and it was definitely what got me here. But it's so untangible,
Yeah.
and so unrelative to what is now.
Yeah.
You know?
I bet you that reinvention has really helped you as a songwriter, though, too. Because, like, I look at a song like an easel, right? Like, if you paint a painting, and then you rip it off, and now it's a blank slate of paper, and now you have to redo another painting. It's the same thing with a song. So every song you're reinventing. You can't write the same successful song over and over again. So that had to have helped you, right?
Yes. And you just said something that I was also saying to somebody yesterday or the day before. It's like, I'm so glad that I'm writing music, because if I was a painter, I would literally having to do a literal canvas. And then the literal canvas, when I was done, I would have to put the literal canvas somewhere on a wall, give it to someone in the garage, right? It's like, if I was a potter, a sculptor, I would actually have to have a place for that piece of pottery, where each one of my songs, each endeavor that I have, it takes up, wafer thin. It takes up no space, and it takes up space in my mind. I write it all down. I write every song down, and I record every song in whatever fashion that I recorded in. But many times that's it, and then it's on to the next one. So, you're right. You're right. The reinvention, and it's also been that obviously those years of movement and reinvention were now I see they were insurmountably helpful to losing my husband. You know what I mean? And then also figuring out, do I even want to write? What does that look like? Who would I want to write with again? How would I want to write now? And like when I came back to start writing again in this past year, I said, I've said to everyone, you might think you know me, but you don't. The only thing you know about me is that I actually do know how to write, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's and
And that's on both sides of that, right? Like they have to be willing to learn more, and you have to be willing to give more too, right? So that's not anybody's fault that it's like that. It's just that's the way it is, right?
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And as a person, like making painfully clear that not only am I not interested in resting on my laurels, but my laurels aren't even anything that are relevant to who I am now, except for the fact that I can sing these songs and play these songs and people love them.
That's right.
It's like I'm very much I'm here now, and it's like this body of work is what I hope to have connect within some zeitgeist, but I don't know if it will, and if it doesn't, that's also beyond my control.
Yeah, and that's just growth, man. You're just defining growth in your own life, and that's amazing to me. We're talking about reinvention, man. I'm just going to go through some of the artists who have cut songs by Tia Sillers. This is reinvention in its finest. We're talking John Waite, Engelbert Humperdinck, Little River Band, Vince Gill, Patti Page, Ronan Keating, John Party, Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, Five Finger Death Punch, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, of course.
Death Punch.
Like, this is reinvention right here. Like, you're just talking about, like, as many different, like, generational and genre and different artists, and it's just crazy the catalog you have, and it's pretty obvious where that's come from your upbringing, being able to reinvent, being able to adjust quickly to whatever's happening around you. I love that so much. And you talked about collabs, and I want to chat about that with you too, because you have had some pretty phenomenal long-term collaborations. We're talking about obviously with your husband, and also with Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and there are others. Take us through, as a songwriter, the beauty of having the trust of a long-term collaborator like that, and what it takes to kind of formulate that with someone.
The most fascinating thing about collaboration, and I think of it interestingly because a lot of the songs I've written in these past years have been by myself. So I'm also adding myself to one of my favorite collaborators.
Yeah, sure.
I'm evolving. I'm bouncing all these things off me. Wow, Tia, what do you think? What do you think? But it's like each time I get back together with these people, like one of my favorite collaborators is Gabe Dixon, and I get to write with him way too infrequently. But when I do, it's first of all, it's the catch up. It's the reunion time, finding out what each of us has gone through and is going through and endeavoring. That's just hugely inspiring, but you're coming at it from already a source of community. So like you've already proven your friendship or your compatibility.
Sure.
You already know that.
Yeah.
So you already know that you've struck, you've been flint on flint before and you've made fire. So that's not a doubt. So then you get to reconnect with each other because you're both not the same people that you were the last time you reconnected, and you get to kind of circle back, but it's like both comforting to be with this person that has known you and been through all sorts of things with you, and then it's also invigorating to see how new they can be, where you don't get that with somebody new. With someone new, it's truly new. And it's like, how long can you have as I'm writing with brand new people, I'm always curious, like, let's say we begin to write together. Will we write 5 years together, 10 years together? Will we know each other, in another decade? What will we know about each other? What secrets will we know each other? How involved will we be with each other? And I find that really fascinating,
Yeah, and that's again, I say it all the time with the co-writing aspect of songwriting. Check your ego at the door, right? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite things is so Moss and I wrote a bunch of songs of Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and we were just we were just professional. We were songwriters, all friends for years and years and years, and then finally, it was I guess in 2002 or something like that Moss and I became a couple, and we kind of kept it secret for a while because we were sheepish about both being songwriters and in the business, and let's keep it quiet. And so we go and we tell Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and this was like after like a concert, and he goes, "Well, this is awesome. You'll both be so much easier to find." Like, I only had to find one of you,
Did your writing relationship with him change after you became a couple at all?
We had this like really strict rule. I always called them hats. Like we had our spouse hat, and then we had our songwriting hat.
Right.
And I had all these rules. We were never allowed to call each other honey, baby. We were never allowed to talk about what was going to be made for dinner. We could never talk about the flat tire that we had earlier. Or if we did, it had to be in an antidote. Like, well, yesterday I had a flat tire. It couldn't have been like, well, we had a flat tire and Moss didn't show up to help me change the tire. Now I'm really mad at him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more like I couldn't use that. We had to use antidotes that were describing us independently, or maybe we could talk about, we couldn't use each other as we couldn't be tag teaming. We couldn't be, all of that.
Yeah.
It's like, because I really chafed at that. It's like there's been a handful of husband and wife writing teams, and I wanted nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
and
the separation was truly very, very important.
So important. We never wrote at the same publishing company. I never let us write more than 15, 20 songs a year. I was the one. But if it had been up to Moss's choice, we would have written everything together all the time. And I was like, no. And it turned out to be this great thing because he then went on and, was music director for other bands. He went and toured other things. He had his own artist career. And that was really important because at the end of the day, Moss had a breadth, a bandwidth of music that he could write. Mm-hmm. And that was what he was really good at. And I had a much wider breadth. And not that I'm saying that my wider breadth is better, but mine is more scattershot, like more like a jack of all trades, ace of none.
Yeah, you're more chameleon than him, right?
Like, yeah.
And if I had just partnered only with him, I would have narrowed my own. I wouldn't have gotten to be my skin shifter, my shape shifter.
Yeah,
thing.
That's so cool. Yeah. In retrospect, you look back at it. Do you notice a difference? Was the collaboration better before marriage or after? Can you see that, or is there none?
That's one. That's tough, and two, wow. I mean, we wrote some of the best records. We wrote all of Moss's records, almost all of Moss's records post marriage. But yeah, I mean, well, let's just put it this way. I don't like to use the word single. I use the word solo. I'm a solo human being now. Mm-hmm. And I have not found anybody as amazing or awesome as Moss is on the planet so far in my journey. And there's one thing I know for sure, and that is I don't ever want to love anyone who's another musician or songwriter, because I don't want that competition, and I don't want that kind of competition, and I don't want to be able to have to downplay my success or vice versa. It's like, I really felt like I had to do that for our own relationship. And also, maybe it's because I hate to pull the gender card, but I'm the woman, and
humans naturally compare. That's what we do, man.
Yeah,
Even when we
and
don't want to, right? Like we're
I
always
think I
comparing.
definitely downplayed or turned down a few options and opportunities in our marriage to keep the peace as a couple.
Yeah.
And because also too, I was like his number one fan. I thought he was like the coolest artist on the planet. So I really just wanted to write Mark Selby songs, which also wouldn't have been the right thing for me anyway. So it was a real battle within myself
Yeah.
to do that. And now it's the only thing that I don't miss about him is I really do like the incredible freedom I have. I mean, I've only really been writing full time now for not quite a year. So I'm closing in on 11 months. So I'm a year and away from being a full-time writer again.
Wow.
And I have liked the extreme cray freedom I have.
Yeah. So I'm asking you those questions because we've had a lot of songwriting couples on the show. Like I've had probably half dozen at least, and
Wow.
it's always such a cool dynamic to see almost combined artistry, right? And just multiple influences kind of combining into one painting.
I'm gonna be. I mean, this is like also brutally honest and brutally like heart wrenching in 2025. But I do know that I had more doors open for me as this gender that I am because I was married to this man.
Yeah.
And so then I would get invited to go on all male writer retreats because I wouldn't be any threat because I would.
And that's BS. That's BS.
Yeah, that's complete BS. What am I? I'm not. I mean, and but I got opportunities because of that, which I'm not getting now. But I don't really care.
Well, here's the thing, right? I've read a lot about you. I've seen a couple interviews of yours, and I know how, just based on some of your answers to certain questions, how non-gender you are in your art, right?
Yeah.
You don't look at yourself as a female songwriter, and
No.
I love that about you because you're not. You're a songwriter. You're not a female songwriter, right?
Yeah.
And
It's like I wouldn't be a female doctor.
No,
I wouldn't be a
exactly.
lawyer. I wouldn't be a female scientist. We don't even say actors and actresses anymore.
No.
We don't say that. We don't say female scriptwriter. We don't say female director.
I'll give you a good example. In the wrestling world, it used to be superstars and divas, and now they're all superstars.
Yeah. Although I love the word diva. It's cooler than superstar.
Yeah, it truly is. They had the
By the
Divas
way,
Championship.
Divas.
Say
That would
what?
have been way. Everybody should have become diva. I think in that instance, when it's a gender thing, they should pick the coolest word.
Yeah.
So, diva is way better than superstar.
I agree.
So now, all the big stars of the world should be divas.
So it was like you mentioned that more doors were open for you because of who your husband was, rather than just how good you were, right? So, like, were you? Did you know that at the time when it was happening?
I sensed it. I mean, I knew that I was getting invited to things. It's like, what's interesting is if I'm really also, oh man, this is what's so fun about doing things like this, because you get to just talk about anything. So when I first entered the songwriting world in the 90s, it was completely equal. There was nothing no, it wasn't ever brought up. The whole glass ceiling, it was the I am woman, hear me roar, that kind of thing. It was like there were at least half of the artists on the radio were women, half of the songwriters were women who happened to be women who were writing songs for men and women. It was an amazing, amazing time. And then really, it was after 9/11. There were a couple of really, really, really testosterone heavy songs and moments that changed the dynamic of things, and a number of artists that happened to be women were kind of excommunicated from certain genres. And I sort of called it the burqa moment
Yep.
of women. It's like we were allowed to be seen but not heard. And it never really went away, because then came things like the bro country and things like that. And arguably you can say that bro country might have passed, but the rest of it has not.
Mhm.
It's like and there are definitely, and the bright point for me is, I mean, I work a lot in indie pop and rock, and that's very, very, very female dominant, and also like just mixed gender dominant. It's just a thing. There'll be a band with some people in it, and they happen to be different races and genders. It'll just be a thing because they're making music. And I thought, that's what it was supposed to be. That's what it was in the 70s and 80s.
It is, and it was, yeah.
Yeah, somehow we've just gone back into like sort of the Handmaid's Tale kind of thing.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. There is no race, there is no gender in art.
Oh.
There's not, right? So
No.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's let's talk about kind of your writing relationship with KWS a little bit. So most of your songs with Kenny Wayne Shepherd were also with your husband as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, and let's be honest there. I'm sure that it's interesting. I mean, well, you know what? I don't even care. I don't even care if I'm going to get in trouble for this. I've only written with Kenny Wayne once or twice since Moss's death. I don't even think that Kenny Wayne can, well, one, I don't think Kenny Wayne can wrap his head around Moss's death. And then two, I think that it was a complete accident. I think that I brought the special sauce to his songs, and I don't know that he completely recognized that it was a woman being a secret special sauce. And although he's very proud of that the fact that he has worked with so many women in his life, he hasn't continued to do so. So, and there's also been no encouragement that way. So, I mean, and once again, those are all his decisions. He's married. He has a whole bunch of kids, and we've also gone in different directions. He's actually gone way more like country. He's moved to Nashville, kind of associated himself more with that world. And that doesn't interest me as much either. So it's like, it was kind of natural that we would stop, What I really wanted to write with Kenny is big, gritty, dangerous songs.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love that you say dangerous. That's such a good word for it.
Yeah. Dangerous, visceral. The way he plays the guitar, when he plays the guitar, there's sparks coming out of the end of his strings. It's like he has a visceral danger to it. Well, his lyrics and melodies need to match that. And I think that we nailed it. We knocked it out of the park with like Deja Voodoo and not I Hope You Dance, Blue on Black, and Was, and I mean, there were so many songs, Seven. I mean, there were so many songs that had that element of danger and mysticism. You couldn't quite put your finger on what he was doing. King's Highway. I mean, all those songs. It's like, and we did such a good job. That's also one of my favorite things to be in a song is I love danger without being obvious danger. We don't need to talk about cocaine and hoes.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? But we do need to talk about darkness and late at night and being lost and confused and walking down a street and turning down an alley. That kind of danger. That kind of like visceral questioning of life. Also another beautiful song of ours, Heat of the Sun. That could be one of the most beautiful songs I've ever written. Live On. These are very uplifting songs. Show Me the Way Back Home, but they're also still dangerous because it's talking about being almost lost or making these choices that end up changing you and making you who you are.
Yeah, it's jump starting someone's imagination, right? Not telling them what they should be feeling or thinking, letting them get there on their own, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Man, you talked about, just writing with just a huge group of different people, but at the beginning of the show, we also talked about you being very genre fluid. So the question I really wanted to ask you tonight was just, how, when you're sitting down to write, do you know what genre the song is going to be is the song telling you that, or is that a later thing for you?
That's one of my favorite things about, I call it Tia City. So my personal alchemy of songwriting, it's like I'm a complete failure as far as being a commercial songwriter. And if this is me being snotty and elitist, but the
That's
difference
okay.
between a commercial songwriter and a jingle writer is like a fraction of a hair of a thing. It's like I never ever ever wanted to be a jingle writer. I never really wanted to be a commercial songwriter. The fact that songs connected were like this crazy accident, and they still are this crazy accident. Would I like to have some more crazy accidents? Yes, but I don't feel, even though there have been times in my life where I was writing very consistently, writing 80, 100, 120 songs a year, but I still don't ever think I was just trying to like go, okay, here we go. They're all recording this kind of song, and I have no control over the song. It doesn't matter if they tell me that I have to write a song with the word yellow in it about a kangaroo and it has to be 136 beats per minute and a waltz. I can't do it. By the end of the thing, it will have the word red in it, and it'll be about a walrus,
Yep.
and it'll be reggae. But it's a song, and it existed from the challenge. It's just I couldn't do the challenge.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're trying to be commercial, you're not going to get that standing beside the ocean line either, right?
No.
Yeah. So thank God for that.
I'm a complete failure as far as a commercial writer.
Well, how'd you
But
learn that? How'd you learn how to do that? Like having the freedom to know that that's okay in a world that's completely driven by commercialism, right?
Well, I think I've just always been. My mom's used to say that, like, when I was a little kid and we would go to like parties, you know how like the little kid who would stand on the side and like look down at the ground and be like the little non-joiner kid, but the like who really wanted to be in it. There's that kid. There's also the kid who would stand on the side of the parties and look around at everybody and goes, "Isn't this interesting?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was that kid. And I would often go over to the little kid looking down at the ground and go like, "Hey, want to talk?" And I would so I'm observer. I've never been a joiner. There's nothing joiner about me. There's no team spirit in me. Damn it. I don't understand sports. I don't understand rah, go South Mississippi Bulldogs. I don't get it. I don't want to be a part of a tribe. I don't want to be anything. And, I don't want to be a part of a team. I don't want to be a part of a writing team. I don't want to be a part of a publishing company where they're all creating this. No, I don't want anything to do with that.
Tia City, right?
Yeah, I'm Tia City. I'm my own little town.
Yep.
And for better or worse, and I'll take my little town on the road. I'll get in my car, Tia City, and I'll go ride over to someone else, and I'll take Tia Sillers and I'll write with them and I'll have a really good time. And by George, we'll write some really cool songs and songs that I was never expecting to write. But it's like, yeah, I'm a failure as like the studier of song.
That's great, man. That's good stuff. Do you ever take the time to reflect and look back at your catalog? Like, we're talking again, stretching across genres, countries, generational, like, it's just so much that you've done across so many different divides. Do you ever reflect on that stuff?
Well, one, I get the chance to because, like, for better or worse, like I've been nominated for the Songwriter Hall of Fame 3 times, never got in. So I'm like always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
It's
don't
coming.
Want to be in, don't want to be in it anymore. Nope. 3 was enough. It was just plenty for me. But it was like, so I spent a lot of time re-enumerating then, and then like now once or twice a year I go to the Country Music Hall of Fame and I do a kind of retrospective there called the Songwriters Corner and kind of call it my State of the Union. And I sort of talk about, I play like 3 or 4 songs from the current year and then I play 3 or 4 songs from the past and kind of talk about how they make sense and how they weave together. And then I get to do shows like this and so yes, in fact, that's the most beautiful thing is that if I hadn't written these songs with Moss, then I don't think I would have the license to talk about him as much. I think that most people would be like, enough about your awesome dead husband, But it's like, because we wrote Blue on Black, wait, what? I'm not going to mention that I wrote it with my awesome husband who's not on the planet anymore. And so I get to talk about him like that and I get to tell stories. And so I get to spend time reflecting, but I also have to be really careful of that because that reflection then is that, and then now as soon as that's over I'm back on the Puget Sound getting ready to write a song tomorrow with Operation Song, and very much, future forward.
Yeah, you got to leave that where it belongs and
Yeah.
live in the now too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be now. It's like, if I just think about, I mean, I've had to work so hard at, not being in the past.
Well, one of the first things you said in this interview was not resting on your laurels. So,
No.
and I know that's important. So, let's chat a little bit more about I Hope You Dance, not the song at this point, but you have other forms of media that this idea has taken shape for you. You're a best-selling author because of this song. You've got a children's book because of this song. Talk about the evolution of that, going from this giant iconic global hit to like, I'm going to write a book about this, and now I'm going to teach the kids about this too.
One of the coolest things about getting the opportunity to write this book was that we actually weren't given the opportunity to write the book. This publishing company came to us and they said, we'd like to hire someone to write a book on I Hope You Dance. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm in, but you give us first chance. You give us first chance.
Yeah.
You come on. If we can do this, we can do that,
Yeah.
And so it was me and Mark Sanders, and Mark D was going through an incredibly dark period. He has always battled with depression and mental imbalance, and this is like, public knowledge, so I'm not saying anything that he would be hiding back. And his medicine that he was taking at the time, Effixor, which had done an amazing job keeping him balanced, had stopped working. And so he was literally in a fetal position, some nights. This is like after winning a Grammy and having hits, and we had another hit on the charts, and I mean, all these amazing things were happening. And so that was happening to him. And my mother, my fabulous mother, had just got diagnosed with cancer. And so that was going on with me. And we were not in our normal places with our normal good skin.
Yeah.
We had the thinnest skin. We had the most thin, transparent. We were the biggest, most vulnerable hearts.
Perhaps not the best time to be writing something with the word hope in it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but we were able to do that because we really were writing it for ourselves.
Right.
And we were writing it for, it's like my mom said the most awesome thing to me when I Hope You Dance was becoming a hit. She said, Tia, if this song becomes the hit I think it's going to be, you can never be a bitch.
Yep.
You never can. You can never drive a car with tinted windows. You can never have, a posse. You can never become a cocaine addict. You can never go to rehab. You can never kill yourself. You can never do any of these things because you will negate I Hope You Dance. It's like the artist can do those things because other artists will sing the song that's going to become an iconic song. Artists can have personal tragedies. But as the writers, you're going to have to.
Wow. No pressure.
Really sweet person. I was like, Mama. But I kind of channeled that in that book. And then it was just nuts because that book became a massively big hit. New York Times bestseller list. It was so nuts because it and the Bible were the two most stolen books of the year.
Crazy.
I mean, come on. I Hope You Dance and the Bible, we were the most stolen books of the year. That's just awesome.
That's not on your Wikipedia anywhere.
I need to find. It was in the New York Times article, and I was like, I need to find that article. Will you help me remember that? I need to find that article, and I want to put that as a link in my Wikipedia page. You're right. That's just too much fun.
Yeah.
But so that, and then the children's book was just this chance to be. I really, really, really wanted to have a child at that moment in my life, and I was, getting ready to get married. I was, I was just incredibly, that was like 6 months later, 9 months later, my mom would have just died. I was really very much a child myself, with grief and with sweetness and, all those things like that. And so I was, wow, it was just an amazing experience. And then I went on, full disclosure, and I don't think I've ever told this to anybody, but I went on and wrote, from that point on, I wrote a whole body of short stories and I wrote a novel, none of them ever published, but it really unleashed this, well, one, it ended up being this grief therapy thing for me.
Yeah.
While in my mom's death, because I also, once again, was not really capable then. That was the first time I wasn't really capable of writing, collaborating with someone and putting on a happy face, but I was able to work and write these novels and short stories.
I love
So
that. Just such cool stuff. I want to mention a couple of songs that don't get a lot of look from you. Some of my favorites that I just want people out there to kind of search for if you guys don't know them already. One is called Barbed Wire and Roses by Pin Monkey, which I absolutely love that song. It should have been much bigger, in my
I got
opinion.
scars from what you done. I'll
Yeah.
show them to you, baby, one by one. Yeah.
Love it. The other one was I Cry by Tammy Cochran.
I cry a little bit every day.
It's just
and
such
this one
great
drops
tunes.
off. Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you for writing those. They're great songs, and that's why I love having folks like Tia on the show, because sure, you know, Blue on Black and I Hope You Dance are going to be probably the songs you're forever going to be known for, but there's dozens of songs that you wrote that don't have the notoriety of those songs that you should also be known for.
Well, and the thing is that we have to remember is, in any one year, I mean, if you go back like to the sounds of the 70s, the sounds of the 60s, the sounds of the 80s, the 90s, you know, any of these years, it's like in any one year, there's only 10 or 12 songs that really stick.
Right.
Right? There were hundreds and hundreds of singles.
Well, there's
but in
only
any
one Song of the Year Grammy winner, right? So
Well, that's true, but even the Song of the Year Grammy winners don't necessarily stick.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean? You could go back and look at the last 30 years of Song of the Years, and you might struggle to sing a handful of them,
Right.
you know?
Yep.
So,
But we're always going to have, you know, Standing Beside the Ocean. And
yeah.
people are going to know that line.
Only beside the Puget Sound.
And I love that you're right there by the Puget Sound.
I'm
Yes.
seriously, is this only audio, or are they going to
No,
see
it's
it?
both. They're going to see everything.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, yeah.
We're going to get comments about that hummingbird earlier. I promise you, it's going to be good. So I do have some lighthearted kind of stuff at the end of the show that I'm going to go through with you. I know you'll love this. Every artist does. We use these for like little snippets and TikToks and shorts and things. But first one is called "Did You Know?" Can you tell us something that folks may not know about you?
Well, I'm left-handed,
Okay.
and I play the guitar right-handed, and I'm a Scorpio, and I had the same birthday as my dad, and I have really curly, frizzy hair, and apparently that makes me a witch.
Okay.
Apparently, all those combinations of things, I would have been burned at the stake.
Yeah, you would have been. That's absolutely true. All right. I can't wait to hear your answer on this one. This is called Mount Rushmore. Who are the 4 songwriters on your Mount Rushmore of Songwriters?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I climbed my Mount Rushmore with the fabulous Mark Selby, Moss.
Nice.
And more importantly than Mount Rushmore, I climbed Crazy Horse, which is the monument in South Dakota that's being built. And I got to go right up to the top, and I have this amazing picture of Moss's head right next to Crazy Horse's head.
Awesome.
But so if my Mount Rushmore, I have 4.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, wait. Can I say them out loud and spitball them for a minute?
Sure, yeah.
It would have to be Hal David because of what's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? And if life belongs only to the strong, Alfie. So I would think Hal would go on it as opposed to Burt. Burt Bacharach's amazing, but Hal. Jimmy Webb's Tempting for Withdrawal Line Man and that whole body of work, but I don't know. I guess I'd have to do Don Schlitz and Alan Shamblin because they were so seminal. I'd like to do Mark Selby, but I guess I'd have to do Paul Simon.
You get 4, don't forget.
Why don't we drive through the night and wake up down in Mexico? Oh, I don't know nothing about no Mexico. Why don't you love me for who I am, where I am?
So Paul Simon is my favorite songwriter, by the way.
Okay, so okay, we've got it. I think it's Paul Simon. I think it's Hal David.
That's 2. Are you going to go with Dawn and Alan?
Also be Paul McCartney, because some people want to see the world with silly love songs. I look around me and I see it isn't so. Oh no. Okay, forgive me, Moss. I'm not going to make you my favorite songwriter. You're not going to make Mount Rushmore because you're standing next to Crazy Horse.
Yep.
So Moss and Crazy Horse are together.
All right.
And could we have a split face of Don Schlitz and Alan Shamblin?
Sure. We'll let you make the rules.
Okay, so then it's Hal David, Paul Simon, Paul McCartney, Don Schlitz,
So it's Alan Schlitz or Don Hamlin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, we got it. All right, we got there at the end, y'all. Let's go. Next segment is called What the Heck? Okay, so this is 5 rapid-fire questions, and I don't think we're going to have any issue with this. Just tell me the first thing that comes to your head when I ask the question. Don't filter any answers now, okay? That's important. All right, number 1, why do you think ATMs have Braille on them, the drive-up ATMs? Why do they have Braille on them?
Because blind people need ATMs?
But they're drive-up ATMs. Why are blind people driving?
It's not necessarily drive up. It's like some people can walk up, or the blind person could be in the passenger seat and they would get up out of the car.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. I was going to say, how could they walk up if they didn't, like, they're blind? How would they know there's an ATM there?
Well, they're very good. I've watched people, blind people have a sixth sense. I mean, they might know, and also too, they would have phones now that they would be able to type in with their Braille to find out where an ATM is. The ATM, then the map
That's
would
a good
tell them
point.
where it is.
That's a good point.
And they have North Stars. They're like human compasses at this point.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right,
gotta-
number 2. Which superpower do you wish you had?
I wish I could always be a better person.
Okay. All right. So what would you be called, like kind woman or?
Yeah, kind woman. An unfailingly kind woman. Like when I think about the times that I have been snarky, particularly snarky to Moss. I mean, the times I like rolled my eyes at him or my mother or my father. That I've thought like negative, snarky thoughts. Just even thinking them to people because I like don't like their hairstyle or their whatever. It's like just nixnay that from me, and then I would just be.
Yeah.
Kind woman.
Or we could go with Captain Compassionate. That would be good.
Oh, Captain Compassion.
That's
Yes!
very alliterative, isn't it?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Number
Captain
3.
Compassion.
Number 3. Which celebrity annoys you the most? Don't make this political either. A non-political celebrity.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. I would go. I guess somebody like a Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
It's like I just don't even, or a Kanye West. I mean, how they even found each other. Although it's perfect, I'm happy they found each other, and then I'm happy now that she's humiliated because he's a psychopath. And all
I am
those things
extremely happy that we didn't get like a trial of the century out of that relationship.
Yeah, but then Captain Compassion and me, who would sit there and go like, Tia, why did you have those thoughts? That doesn't do you any good. So.
All right, number 4. What word do you have a hard time pronouncing?
Oh my God, this is so easy because Joe Boyd, who I'm with now, Joe and Barbara Boyd, and Joe's like my adopted big brother, and there's this animal in the sea, and it's called anemone.
Anemone, yes.
And then that. And then and if you remember the little kid song, anemone, I can't say it the same way.
I always called them Ammonites when I was a kid.
That one.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anemone.
All right, last one, number 5. This will be a little bit more maybe thought-provoking. Let's see. Let's give you a thought-provoking one. All right, you can listen to one artist for the rest of your life. But as soon as you choose this one artist, all other artists don't exist.
Oh, my God. Well, could it be me?
Sure. You're
Because
an
then
artist.
I could write my songs for the rest of my life, and then I wouldn't be limited by the songs I wrote.
That's a great answer. I think that's
Although
a great
I think
answer.
I would also get really sick of myself. But I can't guarantee that the other artists that I would pick would continue to write music that I love. Like I would immediately thought like Annie Lennox, but she hardly makes records anymore. So then I'd be limited to what she's made. Or I
Right.
love Robert Palmer's early albums. I love David Gray. Oh my God, I love David Gray. But I don't know if I'd want to listen to only David Gray. So
It's tough,
me.
right? Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's a great
me.
answer. That's great. Yeah, I love that. All right, cool. So that was What the Heck, and I knew that was going to be fun with you. All right, next one is called One Artist. Who is one artist you wish the whole world knew about?
Well, well, I
Other
mean,
than,
one,
you can't pick yourself on this one, by the way. Pick someone
okay.
else.
So the one artist that I think is like famous already, but should be world known is David Gray. I mean, David Gray is just an astounding artist. I wish the world knew about Paul Simon. There's an amazing much lesser known artist named Andrew Duhon. I wish people knew who he was. He just has a gravitas and a gorgeousness to his voice. I wish the world knew who Gabe Dixon was. I wish the world knew who the indie rock band Flight Attendant was. I wish the world knew who Katie Pruitt was.
This was supposed to be one artist, Tia.
Don't do that. You can't. Yeah, I wish that the world didn't know who a lot of the artists are, and that they knew who my artists were.
I agree with you. Let's pick an entire book full of artists that shouldn't be known.
Yeah, check them out.
All right, so you're going to be a guinea pig for my next segment. I've never done this one before with any guest before. This is called Fly on the Wall. So you can be the fly on the wall in any room in history. Where are you?
That's really hard. Well, one, I would love to be a fly on the wall while Julia Child was cooking. I mean, that would be possibly hilarious. I would love to be a fly on the wall while Mel Brooks was like filming Blazing Saddles. That would be so much fun.
So filming it or writing it?
Or either one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to be in the room where he's like,
yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in the room of anything maniacal or political, because once again, that flies in the face of Captain Compassion. So I would want to be in the room of like a mad scientist doing something really cool. Oh man, it would be super cool to be in the room when like a scientist like Madame Curie, who's just about to die from poisoning because she's like, God knows what she's under herself. But when she's pretty much thinks she's figured this out, you know, or Galileo. How cool would that be to be right there when Galileo goes, you know, I think we're spinning.
Or how about the first time Nostradamus was right? Like,
that would be amazing.
I told you that was going to happen.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That would be like an aha moment, that would be amazing. And also too, to just be a fly on the wall, like to not be a part of it, just to be like, I was there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
They didn't even know it. Yeah.
I love that. Cool. All right. Next one's called Biggest Lesson. What is the biggest lesson you have learned directly from music?
That it doesn't care.
Yeah.
And that's been really hard. And I could cry at this moment. But music doesn't give a rat's ass about your heart. Music doesn't give a rat's ass about your grief or your soul. Music doesn't give a rat's ass about anything. All music wants is to make more fucking music. Yeah. It's like, and all love wants to make is more love, and you can sit there and go, world stop or life stop or music stop. You can want it to stop to where you can get your act together, and it just keeps rocking. And
it doesn't care about your feelings.
No, it doesn't care about your feelings at all. And also, too, music does not care. Neither does love about if it's bad love or good love or bad music or good love. It just wants to be music, love. So it can be like a terribly, unhelpful love, a really dysfunctional song, but music's just like, I'm doing it. Yeah, music. Yeah.
Yeah, you always find the worst music for the time that you're in, too, right?
Yeah.
All right, next one's called Moment of Gravity. So this is basically, I always struggle to ask this question, but looking back at your life, can you kind of pinpoint one event in your life that kind of puts you on the path to where you are now?
Yeah, my husband died in my arms. I mean, boom. I mean, I'm not mincing words. It's like I held him. He was looking right at me. He didn't want to die. I didn't want him to die. And he died right in my arms. So how do I remove that? How do I play a show? How do I show up to write a song and not have that inform me? You know what I mean? How do I, the thing is too, it's like, it's been 7 years since he's been gone. And it's like, I'm not going to play a show and not talk about him, because it's like, And I'm not going to say he died in my arms. I don't say that.
Sure.
Okay. But I am going to say that this exceptional person, I lost this exceptional person, and that since then, my mind view, my world view, my eyes lens is perpetually different. And the thing that is the most interesting thing is I could have, with this lens, I could have crawled into a fetal position.
Yep.
I could have become a very bitter person. I could have become a very angry person. And instead, what really came out of that and has not left me is this Tia 5-year-old girl all over again. And she's not left. It's like there's nothing really savvy. There's nothing sexy. There's nothing mature about me. There's none of like that at all. It's that I want to be Captain Compassion.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's his death. He wanted so badly to die in the hospital. He did not want to die at home. He wanted if he was going to die, he wanted to die like on the surgery when they were removing the brain tumor. That's how he wanted to die. He did not want to die at home. And but he did. And
well, I know I know exactly how that is. My dad was the same way. He wanted it to go at the hospital. My mom would not let that happen.
Yeah.
She wanted him home, and he didn't want to deal with that. I know what it's like to have somebody die in your arms and have the most important person in your life die in your arms. That was my dad for me. That is a film that never stops playing. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And shows up at the damnedest of times.
I know.
I mean, and it's just remarkable. I like to say that these things that we feel only prove we're not psychopaths.
That's right.
And they only prove that we're like fully sentient beings, and that we're in nowhere. We almost have our burden is that we have too much emotion. You know what I mean? Our burden is that we feel too deeply. But also then it's our job from these losses to go on and be the kindest, sweetest people on the planet, to counterbalance the other people that
it's all about your personal choices, man. It's how you deal with it, right? And and that's about, again, the compassion for other people.
Yeah.
Other people are not watching the same film that you are, and so you know, you gotta try to remember that, and that's difficult when your entire world is that film, that is your memory.
Yeah.
And but yeah,
go
ahead.
I always love to say that when you're at the end of your life, whatever that end of your life is, and you can't get out of the fact that you're at the end of your life, that you're the star of this movie, this film, that you really don't want to be cast in, right?
Yeah.
But that you get to act however you want to act. So it doesn't matter if the people who are also people in your film, like I was a person in Moss's movie, right? But yet when his movie ends, my movie continues, right? And so it was like however Moss needed to act or wanted to act, then I had to obey that. You know what I mean? I had to respect that because his movie ends with his last breath and my movie continues.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, if you haven't seen The Life of Chuck, you need to see it.
Okay.
Trust me. And it's by Stephen King, one of my favorite writers, and not for his horror books, but for his other Breath of Humanity, what he did with Shawshank Redemption. But The Life of Chuck is the most amazing movie, and you just won't be prepared for it.
Okay.
But
I will check it out. I love Stephen King, so I'll check it out. That just a little bit off topic, but Under the Dome, the TV show, man, did that
I
piss
never
me
saw
off.
that.
Don't
Okay, don't. Okay, don't.
Don't touch it. Trust me.
Okay.
Under the Dome book was incredible, and then they completely butchered it. It's just so
stay
bad.
away.
Stay away from it. All right, so we got a little deep and dark with Moment of Gravity there, and I love your answer, though, because it's really a good definition of grief and how grief can affect you so fully, right? Like, it's just so full, and it's hard to even get a break from it. And you're right, it shows up at the damnedest times when you smell something, or just, it can be just I smelled my dad's truck, and it wasn't even my dad's truck. It was just the smell of his truck, and it was, at a farmer's market or something like that. And you don't control how you're gonna react to that smell that just comes out of nowhere, and it triggers those memories. So But that leads me to the next one that is kind of the antithesis of that one, and that is, what are the 3 things you're most grateful for?
Well, the fact that I want to be Captain Compassion.
Still, even after?
Yeah, that's my MO. I can't believe I do. I can't believe that I have this light in my eyes. I mean, people say it all the time. I can't believe that I look younger than I am and I'm more joyful. I mean, even I can't believe, that I still have this light, this curiosity. I can't really believe that. And so I'm immensely grateful for that. And I am so grateful for my friends. I mean, I have the greatest collection of friends on the planet. I mean, I'm here at the house of 2 of my most important people in my life, Joe and Barb. And then tomorrow, 3 of my other great friends are coming in from Tennessee and Oregon. They're all flying in, and then we're all going to come here, and then we're going to go play this little festival together. And, I talked to 2 friends today on the phone, and I'm helping another friend buy a house. And it's like, so I would say the fact that I want to be Captain Compassion. I'm working on my moves.
We're gonna have to get you some spandex or something.
Captain Compassion! And that I still have the light in my eyes, and that I have the friends I have.
And I gotta say, when we started this interview, your upbringing was to not make friends. Don't do the relationships.
Yeah, it's crazy that you brought that up. Yeah.
The interviews are circular. They always find a circular point, and it's so weird how it happens all the time, but it's so true. One of the things you're grateful for is your friendships, and you were literally raised to not make friendships.
That's amazing. That's really amazing, and that it's like Joe and Barb are 2 of my oldest friends, and that I've probably known them for 20 years. But all of my other friends, my like entire network that are like my trampoline of joy, are all post Moss, and it's like they've just been they're everything to me.
And that's the growth as a human, as an artist. Such cool stuff. All right, last question will be the hardest one, perhaps. It's called, who do you think you are? Who is Tia Sillers?
I'm just me. I'm just a really broken mortal person, occasionally writing songs that are perfect, and I wake up every morning and wonder what's going to surprise me today, and I talk to God all the time, and I'm out here on Joe and Barb's patio in front of the Puget Sound, so that's who I am.
Yeah. Being very small next to the ocean, right?
Yeah, super small. That really hasn't changed as a theme. Super, super, super small.
Tia, thank you so much for being here. We got Tia Sillers on the show for the first time ever. I promised everybody, and she promised everybody on her Instagram, there would be laughs and there would be tears. And what a great conversation. How can people support you if they want to know more and get to know you better?
Well, I'm on Instagram. I have 3,000 followers.
Oh,
so
my
I'm
God.
really big shit. I go on Instagram about once every 2 weeks, so that's part of my problem. I have started playing again live. So like I'm playing the festival, the Peace, Love, and Saltwater Festival in Union. I'm playing the Annapolis, Maryland Songwriter Festival in September. I'm playing more in Nashville. I'm sort of making a super secret record. I don't know. So we'll see. And I'm just writing with new artists and trying to make things land like that. I'm not hard to find. I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm just Tia Sillers, and come out and see me and in any way and introduce yourself and tell me how you learned about me.
Awesome. Tia, thank you for doing this. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. You're really great, Boston.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Marla Cannon Goodman, and thank you for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.